meaning and purpose of life. For Christians, the meaning and purpose of life might include to glorify God and to have a personal relationship with Him. Humans are made in God's image, so their purpose is to reflect God's glory in their lives and actions. To prepare for judgment. The Genesis story reflects the Christian view that the relationship between God and humans was broken. Jesus died on the cross to atone for human sin, and this process is completed by judgment at the end of time. For some, this judgment is literally to go to heaven or hell. For John Hick, for example, God's love means that in the end everyone will be saved. To bring about God's kingdom on earth. Some Christians see the hope of establishing God's kingdom as eschatological at the end of time. Others see it as a present reality, thinking that this is possible to establish the qualities of God's kingdom on earth. Resurrection. Resurrection is the defining feature of Christian belief. It is understood by Christians either as a bodily or spiritual resurrection. Resurrection of the body is described in the writings of Augustine. The flesh is needed so that both the spiritual and physical effects of sin can be removed. And Augustine presumes from the Gospels that Jesus' resurrection is physical. The idea of spiritual resurrection is influenced by Plato's dualistic philosophy, where a person is essentially a non-material soul housed in a physical body. St. Paul seems to support the idea of a spiritual resurrection, where he says that what is sown a physical body is raised a spiritual body. Although perhaps Paul's idea of a new, incorruptible, heavenly body retains some kind of physical aspect. 1 Corinthians 15:42-44 and 50-54 is about Paul's responses to those in the Corinthian church who doubted that humans could follow Jesus' example and resurrect after death. Paul's answer is important as an early piece of Christian theology from a time only 20 to 25 years after Jesus' death. Judgment, heaven, hell, and purgatory. The classical ideas of judgment appear in the parable of the sheep and goats, and for example in Revelation 20:11-12. Some understand judgment, heaven, hell, and purgatory as physical. The reality of pain in the era before anesthetics made the idea of physical punishment after death a likely one to expect. Moreover, the bodily suffering of Jesus on the cross was real, so physical pain as punishment for sin was a natural idea. Others understand them as spiritual realities, in which suffering might be seen as a spiritual loss, such as permanent or semi-permanent separation from God. For many liberal Christians, judgment, heaven, hell, and purgatory are perhaps psychological realities generated by the mind, so heaven in this sense might be a life of peace and contentment, whereas those who live in conflict might experience psychological hell, from which escape might come through some form of reformation, perhaps through psychoanalysis. Process theologians generally reject any idea of subjective immortality, that is, where the individual retains the same consciousness after death. Since God exists panesthetically with the physical universe, God is the totality of both mental and physical experience. If the universe is in God, then all humans are in God, and in fact, when any being dies, it stays as real and permanent object in the mind of God.